Welcome to Own Your Words. Sufficient. Meaning with examples. Pronunciation. Sufficient. Sufficient. It is an adjective. Meaning. 1. If you have a sufficient amount of something, it's enough, not too much, not too little, just right. 2. If something is sufficient for a particular purpose, there is enough of it for the purpose. 3. If something is a sufficient cause, or condition for something to happen, it can happen. 4. Enough for a particular purpose. Examples. 1. The company did not have sufficient funds to pay for the goods it had received. 2. A good theory must have sufficient intellectual content to render it falsifiable. 3. The graphic technique is usually sufficient to denote the material concerned. 4. Often the government's power was not sufficient to handle the affairs of beggars well. 5. Discipline is a necessary, but certainly not a sufficient condition for learning to take place. 6. The draft bill appears to have suffered from a lack of sufficient time in preparation. 7. His disguise would be sufficient to fool the defenders from the distance of the high walls. 8. I was teasing him, for I thought no disguise was sufficient to hide Christiana's manner. 9. I think this raises a sufficient amount of questions that I could argue all day about it. 10. After about an hour, I find a stream, shallow but wide, and more than sufficient for my needs. 11. It was not a particularly big bear, but the deed was sufficient to make him famous. 12. It's probably necessary for success in the long term, but it's far, far, far from sufficient. If you like the video, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for more videos.